So after all of the presenters, then we'll have time for Q&A with all of the presenters. So as we're going, I encourage everyone to ask questions or comments in the chat bar, whether you're in Whova or you're on Zoom. And then when we get to the end, we can start with those, or we can refer back to those as we go through Q&A. How's that sound?
Great.
All right. So I'm going to share the slideshow with everyone's slides. Can you see that? All right. So on your last slide, you will get a little page turn like this, letting you know to tastefully wrap it up. We're not going to mute you or jump right in right ahead, but there's a pause there so we can go to the next presentation. All right. Okay. The first presentation is Amanda Lancaster. Are you unmuted?
I am, I believe.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, Shemai. This year, the Alutiiq Museum piloted a program to get a portion of our collections accessible through our collections management database, Collective Access. This is being done through our Emutat database project with support from the BIA and the Shunak tribe. The Emutat database will serve as a central location for Alutiiq ethnographic materials in our institution and beyond. These images are just screenshots from the public-facing component and back-end records, as well as a few objects that will be featured on the site. In Alutiiq, the word Emutat means cod, but it also means things to pull. The Alutiiq Museum chose this name for its effort to find and share ancestral items stored in the world's museums. Emutat refers here to pulling objects from collections so they can be studied. The database can be browsed by institution or object type. Records will include information such as provenance, materials, dimensions, the Alutiiq word, and it will have a photo of the object and an audio file of the Alutiiq word. There are Alutiiq materials in France, Finland, Russia, and across the United States. These items are hard for the community to find and access, and the database will create a central place where people can view Alutiiq objects. The EmutAK project began with a focus on the Alutiiq Museum's holdings, but will eventually expand to include materials from other institutions. Previous research has shown us where some materials are located, and the current National Park Service NAGPRA project is identifying more. Once the database is made public, we will be able to add to it for years. The Alutiiq Museum will collaborate with other museums to identify Alutiiq objects, gather information on their collections, and obtain permission to share objects in the database. These collections can be used by Alutiiq artists to model pieces on, or for researchers to study remotely. The EmutAK project is launching a long-term research effort designed to reunite ancestral objects with the community. Thank you.
You had time to spare.
I know, sorry, I ran a little fast.
Bravo, thank you.
No.
The wrong window. Next up is Niko Sanguinetti. Are you unmuted, Niko?
I am, thank you.
Go ahead.
So I'm coming to you from Akwan and Tlingit Ani in Juneau, and which is especially important considering this project. We've been working on re-raising the Wushkitan Kutia, which was one of 2 memorial totem poles that were carved and placed in honor of Juneau's 1980 centennial year celebration, and was meant to honor the Tlingit contributions to local history. And both of the poles were carved by Nathan Jackson with assistance by Steve Brown here in Juneau. And the Akwan pole has been re-raised inside the Juneau Douglas High School, but the Wushkitan pole, which went up in 1983 and came down in 2016, had yet to find a long-term home. As most people know, Juneau is a temperate rainforest, and totem poles do not last in perpetuity, which is always an issue for museum collections that have totem poles as part of their collections. So our solution has been to try and re-raise this totem pole inside, which at 40 feet has been quite the challenge. You can see here it being moved from a storage area on Douglas Island to its current home in a Thane warehouse, which is not ideal for long-term storage. It's not a safe place for it, nor will anyone really get to see it. So this project has been working on trying to find a new home that is tall enough to allow for a 40-foot pole. Here you'll see the home, which is basically the only place tall enough in Juneau, which is the state office building. And we know it can accommodate a 40-foot pole because the Wasco pole is on the other side of that elevator bank. Part of the story of this pole is the fact that it represents the Wishkitan people, which is the Eagle Moiety from Occoquan here in Juneau. And from these pictures, you'll be able to see we've been working with a large group of Wishkitan family members as well as their Raven counterparts to clean and preserve the pole, as well as craft the plan for its future, including celebrations that are going to go around its re-raising and its interpretation and publication for the future.
Thanks, Niko. Next up is Céline. Are you unmuted?
I think so, yes. You hear me?
There you are. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. Hi, so I have been an intern at the Anchorage Museum this summer, and this has been a dream internship, and I want to acknowledge that it's funded through the Rasmussen Foundation through the museum's Alaska Collections Management Fund. But my internship started with a lot of time spent in collections, which was really exciting because I had never seen a lot of these materials before. So the fishskin parka was beautiful for me to look at. And after spending time in collections, I started working with Sarah and learning how to care for these objects. And cleaning baskets was one of the first things I did, which was really exciting for me to get back into a lab setting and learn various methods of cleaning. In addition to spending time with the collections, I also got to go and meet a few artists in Anchorage. This is me with Peter Bronze looking at the salt fire kiln. This was really exciting for me as my master's thesis involves studying ceramics. So it was really great to meet him and other artists in the Anchorage area and talk to them. One of my favorite projects so far, the end, has been the treatment of a baleen sled. So here you can see I began with cleaning it. It was very, very dusty, but I've also been experimenting with different consolidants on how to treat flaking and delaminating baleen, which has proved to be quite interesting. I also had the chance to meet with and talk with one of the curators at the museum, Aaron Leggett, about a few Denina and Athabascan objects that were pulled off of exhibit after 35 years. And it was really a great experience for me to talk to him about the conservation and what he likes to see as a Denina. And also at my time in Alaska, I got to do a lot of hiking and spend time with my partner, who was able to come up here with me for the summer. And we've been hiking all over, and I've just been falling in love with the state and everything in it. So yeah, that is my summer, and that is our travel bear. That's the only bear we've seen in Alaska, actually. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Céline. Next is Faith Revell. Are you there?
I am.
Go ahead, Faith.
Okay. This summer, the Valdez Museum offered more than 100 guided tours in town featuring the '64 earthquake, on morning walks at Old Town, and on board coaches with visitors from the lower 48. I love giving guided tours. And here's a little of what I've learned. To be prepared, research, write a script, map a route, and practice. Know that your coach driver prefers to make a right turn and that he or she is key to a safe and successful outing. Know where the public bathrooms are located, if the salmon are running, tides are high or low, and where to see a bear. Pack what you need the day before. Bring a face mask that allows you to speak coherently, use a portable microphone with a voice amplifier, travel with an iPad and Google, and wear your favorite hiking boots. Know to arrive early, greet your group warmly, and tell a good story. Tell the truth too, even when asked if a Steller sea lion is a large, wet grizzly bear. It looks like a bear, doesn't it? But it has flippers. When you don't know the answer to a question that's posed, say so. Also, give visitors time to hear the bird sings and breathe in the place. So stop talking. Enjoy your group's company. It may be the only time that you greet them, meet them, and walk with them in this lifetime. Don't forget to say thank you and be grateful that you can give voice to and share what you love about Alaska with others. That's it.
Thank you, Faith.
Welcome.
You're also concise. It's amazing. Jennifer.
Okay, well, in the unconcise category, I'm Jennifer with the Pratt Museum in Homer, and we're located here in the traditional homelands of the Dena'ina and Sugpiaq peoples, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about our program, Finding Home in Homer. So for decades, the Pratt Museum has either hosted or participated in community conversations around issues of importance to the local community. And one of these was housing insecurity, which, as many of us know, is often unseen, but it's also on the rise. So in 2020, the Pratt was awarded an IMLS Inspire grant to build on the growing community concern around this issue. And the program was developed in partnership with quite a few local partners representing behavioral health, the arts. We also had a youth liaison who has experienced housing insecurity herself and is an activist on the issue. So we had a really great team. And our program goals were essentially to build partnerships and to provide training and mentorship for a small cohort of young adult artists who have experienced housing insecurity and to raise public awareness around this issue. And I think that we all feel very happy that the program met or exceeded our goals. But this is also a pilot program for us. So we were also learning about how to engage with community in a different way. And I think we did, in fact, learn a lot that is not only going to shape our work going forward, but incredibly, it's also shaping the work of our partners in the field of behavioral health. And so that was a really gratifying accomplishment. The core of the program was a fellowship for this small cohort of young adult artists aged 17 to 24. And I'm way behind as I anticipated. But the impact of this program was just really great. Over 3,000 people saw the exhibit. We also did a radio program that reached a listening audience of over 58,000 people. And we, of course, reinforced the partnerships and expanded the partnerships that we wanted to. One thing I'd like to add that I don't think we realized going into this program is that this really required an extraordinary level of vulnerability on these young artist participants because they were reflecting on this issue that was so deeply personal to them. And so throughout the course of this program, we made a lot of adjustments and we gave them the opportunity to either accept or decline the invitation to participate in the final exhibit. And in the end, all of them except one did. So, bye-bye.
Thanks, Jennifer. Bethany.
Hey, are you kidding me? All right, so I think each of us have seen ourselves in these images throughout this past year and a half, possibly. My favorite quote is, "Are you crazy? That's a museum." And the response is, "Not today." One of my favorite parts is they take this historic battleship museum, turn it back into a fighting battleship and save the day. Not that we're all doing that in museums, but maybe. Are you kidding me? This is our renovation. We're moving into a new space. I was told the top picture was going to be a 2 foot by 2 foot HVAC system. Not really. So we ended up, that was supposed to be my office too. So we changed that into the museum shop, and I think we're disguising it pretty well. We got an artist coming in to help paint it and disguise it a little bit more. 2020, we were also supposed to open in our new space. We were so excited. We had the NEH on the road, Power of Children. We were the only institution to host it in Alaska. We opened in February 2020. Needless to say, had to close a month later, put it all online. Not exactly how we wanted our opening to go, but we dealt with it. With this move, we were moving buildings, and so we had a semi-open space as we moved, and the city said, oh, hey, we got the chamber, we're moving their historic building, so they'll move in just a couple months, no problem. A year later, they finally moved out of our old space, which meant that we could renovate. So we were able to renovate the downstairs into a new storage space, which has allowed us to do more things. So as the Night at the Museum evolves, all of our museums are evolving, whether you're celebrating, taking a flight to fancy with some new events, or just trying to keep ahead of your collections that are trying to kill you. I say, bring it 2022. Are you kidding me? We got this. So if you guys need a shoulder to cry on or someone to share, just give us a call. We'll empathize with you. We'll be there for you. We just look forward to hearing what you guys are doing in this next year. There we go. Whew. And yes, Selena, the rolling racks actually came from the police department. So we scavenged that from the police department.
Thanks, Bethany. Argent, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, like this is not Argent, it is Nina Fafala, my neighbor. He's very sick. I brought him some soup and he sat me down for the computer and said, do introduction, please. And so here I am. Please start. Oh, okay, now we talk, this is the Kestrel Heritage Center. It's to be built in Alutiiq in 2024. If there is an okay deadline. Argent is kind of one-man band. The tribe hired him to plan this thing. He's pretty talented. But I wonder, I worry about his health. He's sick right now. The tribe, this is their seal. It's really cool. It's got a bear. I think a bear is my chicken. Anyways, we're here, Lower Kenai Peninsula, Alutiiq, Homer, Anchor Point, you know those places, lots of tourists, very pretty. I think I'm coming down with something too. Oh, here's the river. People wants to know the name of the tribe comes from the Alutiiq River, and this is a very nice, pretty picture of it. The name of the river means a lodge in a place. It's from a Dena'ina language. It's very good. And the name of the center actually means Cloud Lodge, which is interesting. Oh my goodness, this reminds me of my bathtub, all the iron stains. This center would feature natural history and people has fossils. This is so interesting. I like it a lot. Oh, and it's going to be built here on this hill. This is view of the old historic village. And, you know, I know it's historic and all, but come on, it kind of looks like a bobbling off. It'll be nice to see something pretty there. And like I said, the name means Cloud Lodge because it also is kind of spiritual center. And it is about one of the creation stories. As you could see, a cloud here, and this is the view from that place. I'm sure he'll be willing to take questions later, or you can email him. Thank you for having me. I hope I did a good job. I hope he gets better soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Argent's representative. Anjuli?
Hey, also, I kind of gave a preview earlier and said that this presentation is basically my excuse for asking strange questions on the grant and aid application. So I can say like, hey, I share the data with you all. Actually, part of our state statute says that we're supposed to keep current information about Alaska museums. And so We do this through the Alaska Museum Survey and then asking lots of questions in grant and aid. So this year, this presentation, I'm going to share with you some information about how our income streams have been affected by the pandemic. I looked at the FY21 and the FY22 grant and aid applications. And in each of these applications, we always ask for financial information from the previous year. So FY21 is pre-pandemic, FY22 is post-pandemic. So we ask for the total income, and then from that, of each museum, we asked what of that was earned, what of that was contributed, and what of that was government appropriations. And so I went through and I added up all of the grants, the operating incomes from those years, and determined that FY21, 48% of the total of all of our incomes came from earned income, 32% came from contributed income, and 19% came from government appropriations. Of course, some people might have put contributed income when it was actually earned income. This isn't really a scientific analysis, but it gives us a good idea. So this is post-pandemic. Earned income went down to 32%. Contributed income was kind of stable at 36%, and government appropriations went up to 32%. This probably isn't surprising just based on how we know that we survived over the past year. Here you can see a side-by-side comparison. What does this mean moving forward? There's all sorts of ways that we can look at this information and talk about this information. But I think basically we know that we just need to focus on boosting our earned income, but at the same time advocating to the government to keep supporting us so that we have that support while we try to bolster the earned income that we lost in the past. So here is the data that I ask and a brief analysis of it. Thank you for answering these questions in grant and aid.
Thanks, Anjuli. Sarah Asper-Smith, are you there?
That's me. I am here. So Illustrating Alaska, Artists Making Children's Books is an exhibit that shows the process of illustrating a book, from getting the text to creating a bunch of sketches to picking one iteration and finalizing it and creating a book. I'd reached out to 4 illustrators that I knew, and they were all very generous with their time and artwork. They let me into their studios and let me take lots of pictures and gave me their artwork to put on display. The Alaska State Museum signed on and provided the exhibit team of Aaron and Jackie, who are incredible. They helped me make these paint blob art frames and a book depository for a reading station and desks, which were designed by the artists and turned into 3 dimensions by Aaron. Other collaborators besides the artists and the State Museum, we got a couple of grants. Kids, mostly the children of my friends, shout out to Scott, sent questions that the illustrators answered on film. Lucid Reverie edited it all together with some other process pieces. We got a donation for part of the printing costs, and bookstores gave me a bunch of books for this little reading nook. This Juneau School District also worked with me and ASM to create a curriculum that's available to teachers who visit the exhibit either in person or online. The exhibit exists in several forms in order to fit our range of spaces in Alaska because it's traveling now. So there's a 10-panel pop-up exhibit that is going to libraries and schools. It fits in a 50-pound box and can be sent via USPS, and that was very important to me. In addition, we separated the, see there's the box. We separated the museum exhibit into 3 crates. The first crate can be sent on its own to smaller exhibit spaces containing the graphics and 1 set of artwork, and the other 2 cases contain the rest of the exhibit. And Aaron designed the crates so smartly. They have wheels on the bottom and a dowel rod, so it's like a hand truck is built into each of the case. So I just wanted to share that that's what I was up to the past couple of years, and hopefully it'll be coming to a neighborhood near you.
Thanks, Sarah. I think Helen is our last presenter in the lightning talks. Are you there, Helen?
I am here. Can you see me? I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay, so the Mobile Conservation Labs the concept was started in 1980 with the Canadian Conservation Institute, who launched 5 rebuilt ambulances around the country to do non-treatment conservation assistance and advice. And it really boosted the level of preservation throughout the country. Australia and some other countries went on. So when this ambulance came available as something from the Haynesboro that they were done with, I have wanted an ambulance since 1985, so I really wanted it. And I was the only person who ended up bidding on it and got it, and it was pretty low price. They had started ripping out some things from it, and this is construction photos, so I apologize. But some of the stuff we're doing is putting collapsible shelves in that can serve to make bigger tables or bigger spaces. I also wanted to show you why I like it is all these cabinets. I put mosquito netting that I found at the secondhand store over the door because when I sat in it the first time, all these bugs came in. So this way there's airflow. But when it's working as a lab, that won't be as necessary. It's sort of a living space and a lab. One of the things that I really like about it is it has heating and cooling in there. I've also purchased solar panels that are being installed tomorrow, and some of the nooks and crannies we measured, and we're finding things to fit, like this little refrigerator, and then there's a portable screen in it too for giving presentations. And that's the back of it. So I'm hoping at the next Museums Alaska on the road, I can bring it and people can crawl around and take a look at it, and it will be done. Right now it's still in process. I think, is that the last slide? I think that's the last slide. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to all of our presenters. That was a rapid fire tour across the state. Do we have questions? Am I audible? My video's frozen.
You're
No,
audible.
you're audible. People are just being shy.
Don't be shy.
Well, if people
I
are
have
being shy, I was just going to add one thing that I didn't mention about this Finding Home and Homer program that was maybe the most magical moment of the whole thing. At the very end, when we had gathered these participants for this event and these young artists, most of the young artists in the program had never been in a museum before. And I had no idea of this the whole time we're doing this program. And that, I thought that was just maybe the most magical moment of the whole thing. So it was great.
So I have to say, Faith, you gave 100 tours this summer. In
More than.
Okay, there are barely 100 days in the summer. That is amazing.
I have not seen a weekend since I have not worked weekends since I think it was June or something like that. So yeah, and many of my tours were Sunday morning, really early. When I don't know about you, but I'm at my very best. Yeah. What we did was we have 2 museum sites, and the second one we didn't hire on anyone of our regular summer staff this summer. So the mainstream group ended up doing tours at the Annex 3 days a week. And we did tours 2 days, two times in the afternoon, 3 days a week. And then I do Old Town walking tours, and then I do in-town historic home tours. And then we had overland tours that we're riding on coaches. So yeah, I have just been giving tours all summer. And it's been great. So I've not any complaints. I want to say something to Helen. Helen, I'm just so impressed that you continue to be such a creative recycler, and not just a creative recycler, but a recycler with a real purpose. You know, I know that we go back a long ways between our beans, cards and beans and things. So that's an inside thing about evaluation, but I'm really impressed. And I really think that being in Alaska inspires you to use materials in a way that you might not otherwise have imagined, and just make things work. So I think that's good.
We have no stores. I think, you know, I mean, we have 3 grocery stores, and then one furniture store. We have no stores. So my son went to Juneau to get the foam, but then there's no fabric store. So I had to take a king sheet and cut it up to make the covers for the pillows, for the benches and stuff. And, you know, we're just, yeah. And he's been really fun to work with because of my 2 children. He's the one that inherited the kind of 3-dimensional problem solving thing that I do. So I would come up with an answer, and he's like, well, what about this? And he would tweak it. And between the 2 of us, we'd come up with something we really liked. And that's been fun.
Yeah.
This really isn't having to do with your internship, Céline, but you didn't see any bears, but did you see any other animals? Like a moose?
Yeah, no, we have seen moose. I think in the first 2 weeks we were here, we saw moose. And my parents came to visit, and we did, you know, some tours. We did a boat tour, so saw a bunch of wildlife. We even went out to Denali, and no bears or caribou or anything, but moose, yes, definitely. And a seal popped up to us right next to our kayak. We did a kayak tour, and I think that was it was amazing. I also do want to say, I think everyone's talked about how amazing Alaska is, and all like museums Alaska, just, you know, hearing the conference and everything that I've learned here. Alaska has my, I can't wait to come back. So it's been really wonderful to hear all of your presentations today. And thank you, Sarah and Monica, for mentoring me. But yeah.
Awesome.
I have a question for Sarah Asper-Smith. I wondered, where is the exhibit right now? Where can we see it if we want to travel in the COVID land?
Right now it's in boxes in Juneau, but the Carrie McLean is going to have it in October. And then the Valdez Museum is going to have it in March. And the pop-up is in Anchorage right now, and it's been going to some elementary schools, which is really cool, in addition to the library. I think that's all on the schedule. That's all that's on the schedule for now, but there are other places that are interested too. So hopefully it'll come to Haines or nearby.
We can hope, right?
Sarah, I just love the design of that. Everything that I could see. I mean, the visual design was so beautiful, and I was thinking about that while you were talking, and then you blew me away with the crate design that's got the wheels in it. Like, wow.
Thank you. That was all Aaron. He's incredible. Yeah. Thank you.
I liked how it had color blotches on it too.
Yeah. The paint blobs informed all aspects of the design. We wanted it to feel like this is a messy process that yeah.
Does the pop-up have other venues scheduled after Anchorage?
Yes, thank you. It is I think it's coming to Homer in November.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is it library?
Yeah. I can't remember the librarian's name. It was in Sitka, now Anchorage, and then Homer's next.
Cool.
Yeah. And Scott, did you see the video with your kids in it? It's online.
I think I saw it ages ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
I think we are amazing, all of Alaska. As someone's saying in here, it's just the talent. And I've always felt like that ever since I first joined Museums Alaska, which is too long ago now. But there's always been such amazing things that all of us are doing all the time. So thank you for sharing it, everybody.